most world change doesn't come through government. It comes through entrepreneurs and innovation and things like that. So
you're in a unique place in the workforce, if you
mhm,
will, that you work for yourself. You
yep.
are your own boss,
Mhm,
and you inhabit the digital realm.
yep.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So what I do is I'm a digital marketer at heart, but what I do is I focus on helping lawyers get more clients. And I've got a couple different businesses. One business is a marketing agency where I've got probably about 70 law firms nationwide that I oversee their marketing campaigns for.
Mm.
I also have a coaching business where I have basically a coaching program where I've got 300-ish lawyers that are in there. And obviously, I don't do this myself. I've got teams that I've built out underneath me. I've got probably 35 people between those two businesses. I've got 35 people that work under me.
Mhm.
Um, and then I just started another business, a business for lawyers that is review generation. So I'm sure as a business owner, you can relate. Getting customer testimonials and reviews is probably one of the most challenging things that you deal with.
Yeah,
Everybody says, "I'm going to leave you a review. I love this
right. And they
place," and
never
then they
leave you.
never do it. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So lawyers deal with the same thing, but the difference is that you can say, "Hey, I'll give you a $50 Starbucks gift card or whatever," right? Lawyers can't do that because it's unethical according to the bar. So
Right.
it's even more difficult for lawyers. So I created a software that solves that problem. And then a completely unrelated business that I just started is a supplement to cure hemorrhoids, actually. That a friend of mine. So the backstory is, and I will say this: I do not have hemorrhoids. A buddy of mine had them for years, and
Okay.
he's a weightlifter, and a lot of weightlifters get them for like bodybuilders and stuff from doing squats and everything. So he found a formula that actually cures them. And he came to
Okay.
me and he's like, "Hey, you know what? He's like, I got the formula. I need somebody that knows how to market this thing." I started doing some market research and I found out that 50% of adults over the age of 50 have them. And I looked at the products on the market and the marketing's terrible for them. So I was like, I'm in, let's do it. So
Mhm.
those are the four businesses that I have, three of which are involving lawyers. And there's a reason for that that I'm going to get back to. And then one is the supplement. But the reason that I focus on lawyers, and this is something that I think a lot of businesses, well, I don't know if a lot of businesses, definitely a lot of marketing companies don't do, is they don't niche down into one and and dive really deep into one thing. And that's one of the big things that because I used to do like try to do everything. I would work for chiropractors and dentists and cosmetic surgeons and lawyers and all these different things. But what I found was that I was kind of a jack of all trades, master of none type of situation. So
Yeah.
what I started doing is I just picked a niche and I focused on that one niche and I dive really deep into that niche. And what ends up happening is you narrow your audience, but you become you become like the go-to guy in that audience.
Got it.
And then from lawyers, I pick the market that they have money that they can spend. There's a lot of different things that they need help with. And then from there, I just branch out. So, it's worked out really well for me so far, and it's allowed me to work for myself and not have to work for anybody else, and
Right.
get to
Okay.
do cool stuff like come on podcasts instead of sit at a 9 to 5 job.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So, all right. But it took you a bit of a journey to get to where you're at right now, right?
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
to be able to say, hey, I do marketing for lawyers, but it didn't happen overnight for you.
No, no.
We were at the gun range. Was it yesterday or the day before? Was it
It was
yesterday?
yesterday. Yeah.
Yesterday we were at the
Time
we were at
flies,
the
right?
gun range
It was actually
yesterday.
less than 24. It was actually less than 24 hours ago.
Oh God, that tells you where my brain's at. We were at the gun range, and then you made mention. You said, yeah, it's something about you were in college, uh, making money, transferring VHS tapes to DVDs,
Yep. Yeah,
right?
that's well, okay, so this is what I've always done. I've always seen a problem, and when you come up with the solution, so basically being in business is all about solving problems. If you can solve problems, then people will always pay you to solve those problems, as long as they're good problems, right? So I identified the problem that people have all these VHS tapes and like, you know, those like mini DV tapes, those tapes that go
Yeah.
into camcorders, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have them sitting in their attic, and they're collecting dust, and they're gonna basically be ruined, and they're gonna lose their memories. So I was like, okay, well, let me solve that. So I went out to Walmart and I bought just like literally a VHS to DVD, a VHS recorder combo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just went out, bought some signs, and put signs up that said VHS to DVD. And it's crazy because I put them up, and I got like 50 calls the first day that I ever put that up. It was insane. And actually, there's a really good lesson in this story. So um, I was like, oh my God, I'm getting all these calls, and everybody called me. They're like, oh my God, I've been looking for this. I've been looking for this service for you know, years. I've got an entire box of tapes in my attic. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna count them, and then I'm gonna give you a call, and we're gonna do this, right? So, and I was charging $10 per transfer, and some people were like, I've got 30, 40, 50 transfers, and I was in college. I was broke, so I was like, I'm counting the money in my head. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna make like $20,000 this week, right? So then what happened, which is interesting, is that not a single person called me back for 2 weeks. I kept getting the new calls, and everybody was like, I'm going to go home and look at it. But nobody ever called me back.
Right.
So I was like, what the hell? I was really frustrated. And like, this is where most people quit. Right.
Mhm.
And I think this is the difference between like someone that's successful and somebody that isn't. And it's not much. It's just a little bit of a mindset switch. It's like, instead of saying, oh, okay, it didn't work, say, okay, why didn't it work? Right. So luckily, I don't know why I did this, but I actually was writing down everyone's name and information. And I had some like notes, and I put it in an Excel document when they were calling me. I still to this day don't know why I did it. So like 2 weeks later, I was like, I was so pissed because I spent all this money. I bought the recorder, I bought the signs, I went out, I did all the work. And I mean, I was probably like $500 in, and as a college kid, $500 in is a lot
$500
of
is a
money.
lot.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of beer I could have bought for $500. You know, so I started calling them, and like one by one, everyone's like, "Oh my God, I was looking for your number. I totally forgot. Let me let me get all the tapes, and we'll get a time to meet." So that was like a Friday. That weekend, I made $5,000. Right.
Dang.
So what the lesson is, and what I've learned my entire life, is that you've got to follow up with things, and that's where the success is. Even like when I run my Facebook ads, like I run Facebook ads for my marketing agency, I run them for my coaching courses, all that stuff. I spend $3,000 a day on Facebook ads, right? And then I spend maybe another $500 a day on remarketing ads. And what remarketing is, somebody that saw an ad, watched the video, opted in for whatever the thing was, but never actually contacted me, right?
Mhm.
The majority of the people that contact me are on the remarketing ads.
No kidding.
You know, so that what's interesting about that is it's all about follow up. It's all about persistence. Is
Right.
kind of, I guess, what the moral of the story is, and just in life in general. If you're persistent and you follow up, because most people just quit the first time.
Right.
And it's like, I'm sure you've seen that cartoon where there's a guy digging for he's like a miner, and
For
you
a
can
diamond.
for diamonds, and it's like
Yeah.
just on the other side. And that's what it comes down to, is that it's just the persistence of sticking with it. And that's kind of been my my secret to being successful, is not that I'm really that great at marketing or anything. It's just that I follow up over and over and over again, and I make sure that people are constantly seeing me, and it
Wonderful.
works. You know, that's the biggest thing about it.
You have kids. You and your wife have kids.
Mhm.
My wife and I, we have kids. There's going to be a point where it's going to be time for them to make a decision on going to college.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you did not go to college to do what you're doing now.
Nope. I went to college and I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was originally going to go into computer science, and then I didn't want to do that. So then I decided I wanted to go to law school. So I switched my major to criminal justice, and I graduated with a degree in criminal justice. And my plan was actually to work at the U.S. Attorney's Office. Sorry, I was going to work for a year, and then I was going to start law school. So I worked at the U.S. Attorney's Office, and then I worked at the U.S. Attorney's Office, and then I worked at a private law firm. And I decided, this is not for me. I do not want to do this. And I was like, forget law school. I can't do this. Are you there? It looks like the video froze.
Hold on.
Okay. So, am I still good?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Right,
So I worked at a private law firm. I worked at a I worked at the U.S. Attorney's Office, and I was like, this is not for me. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Which is good. I think that everybody should do that before. I mean, because like, the worst case scenario is I would have gone straight from college to law school, and I would be in a career that I hate right now.
You'd be completely miserable. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that, and that's actually, I believe that that's kind of more how they do it it's more of like a European thing where basically they don't necessarily go right to college after I think after high school or whatever they call it.
Yeah, they have what's called a gap year, I believe.
Yeah.
I
think it's important because if you're 18, like, what do you know when you're 18?
You're a complete idiot. You're complete.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, if an 18-year-old right now is anything like me, if I was 8, I mean, when I was 18, I was a complete idiot. I didn't know anything. I thought I knew a lot of things, but I didn't know anything.
Oh yeah, if you would have asked me, I knew everything, but and
I still don't know anything.
Exactly.
I still don't know anything. I'm still an idiot.
Yeah, no, that's true. I look back at kind of just some of the things that I was doing a year ago, and I'm like, that was dumb. Why am I doing that?
Yeah. I mean, I wake up in the middle of the night going, why did I do that?
Yeah. But
with you? Yeah.
I've often thought about college. Like, I had a great time in college. I wouldn't have traded it, but in terms of going to college, I believe that college is for the experience. You're learning to live on your own. You're making stupid mistakes, and hopefully not too stupid that you get in trouble.
Right.
But the experience, it's like the social experience of college is what I think is good. I'm not a huge fan of college education because I like even when I hire people, I never look at their education. I look at the work history. Like I'm more interested in work history than I am in what you've done rather than having some fancy degree, because a lot of times, especially like with marketing, I get marketing people all the time that have like marketing degrees, and half the time they don't know what they're doing. It just drives me crazy. And the people that I learn from are people that are actively making money. Like I have a business coach. I pay him $30,000 a year. I've done it for 3 years in a row now. I have to actually wire him 30 grand.
Right.
But he makes $1 million a month. That's the guy I want to learn from. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, and you don't get that in college. There's no college professor out there that has a business, an online business, or because it's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find an online business, I run an online business. So I found a guy who's doing exactly what I want to do, and
how did you vet him though? I mean. Right? I mean, he tells you, or maybe he sends you a screenshot of his bank account saying that, hey, I did make $1 million a month for the past how many years,
Well, it's not necessarily about the $1 million. Like he wasn't making $1 million a month when I met him. He was only making like 400 grand a month.
Only.
Yes.
Only 400K.
Yeah. But well, no, you know what it is that this entire time I've been learning, and really what it comes down to is a gut feeling, like what he's saying like actually makes sense. And then I see the results, and then I'll implement.
You see the results on your end.
Yeah. I'll implement things that he tells me, and it works. It's crazy,
Yeah.
And then looking at other testimonials from other students, and I've since become his I've probably made, I don't know how much money I've made him just because of the fact of all the testimonials that I've given him, but there's a tangible thing, like the month that I hired him, I think I made like $6,000 online, right? Which is good. I mean, a lot of people don't make $6,000. Last month, so we're at about 2 years and 2 months since I hired him. Last month, I made $240,000 just in online sales. You know what I mean? And it's all based on, it's a building process of what I've learned from him, And what's cool is that he does the same thing I do. He sells courses, not to lawyers, but he sells courses. So what's cool is that I'm learning as he's going. So what he does what he taught me 2 years ago is different than what he's teaching today. It doesn't mean it was wrong. It's just evolved,
Right. It's almost like he's mentoring you through the process of growing in the online space and sales.
Yeah. Well, that's my entire life. I've always, my philosophy has always been find somebody who has already done what you want to do and just pay them to teach you how they did it.
Right.
That's the biggest, that's like the secret to I think that's the secret to being successful in a lot of stuff. Like
right. Not a highfalutin degree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if degrees are what you're going after, then, God bless. But if
you need a license, if you need a license, you need a degree, right? So if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be a CPA, I think
Yeah,
I think you need an actual degree to be a CPA, don't you?
I
Like you
think
can't just
so.
take the test, can you?
I'm not
I don't
sure.
know. I'm not
I mean,
sure.
do you need a degree in order to be a lawyer? I thought you just passed the bar.
No, you need a well, you need to go to law school.
Oh, okay.
It's a little different in
Well,
California. California, I think you can do like a 2-year college, but
uh,
yeah, you need to go to law school still.
mm,
Um, but I don't know. I mean, it's like, you know, if I was talking to my wife about this, like, would we tell our kids to go to college? I mean, like, honestly, like I'm torn because I had a great time at college.
yeah,
If I could do it again, I would still go to college. Um,
just for the memories and for the life experience.
exactly. The friends
Yeah,
that I
yeah,
made, you know, the memories, all that type of stuff, learn exactly life experience, all that type of stuff.
right.
Um, would I go into debt for college? No,
Mm,
because you know, it's like you're going to come out of, I mean, I know people that are $250,000 in debt and they get a job paying $50,000 a year. It doesn't guarantee anything, you know?
right, right.
And okay, $30,000 a year to this guy, right? That
Mhm.
sounds like a lot of money, but think about how much you're going to pay a year in college, you know? And like what I learned in what I learned in like one weekend with this guy is more than I learned an entire year of college in terms of being
Right.
useful to my life and making money and actually achieving
Yeah.
my goals, you
But,
know?
but at the same time, though, you're at a different place in your life when you got to the point where you can, shell out 30K for, a guru, a mentor, right?
It's true,
Versus,
yeah. Well,
because when you're young, you don't know exactly. I mean, there are rare individuals, of course, that know
mhm,
what they want to do when they get into college, while they're in college, and right after college. I mean, those are rare guys and
yeah.
girls, right? But the majority aren't like that,
The majority of
right?
people don't use their degree. I mean, it's like I don't
Oh
know
yeah,
what the percentage is, but it's like 80% of people don't actually have a job in the field that they went to school for, you know.
that's me.
What'd you go to school for?
Architecture. I
Oh,
got a
okay.
degree. I got a degree in landscape architecture. I wanted to design golf courses and resorts, and
Oh, wow.
I did that for 3 years out of college, and I was dying.
Yeah.
I
See,
didn't like that. Yeah.
that's the whole thing. Like, I think that, like, you know, if you would have done what I did, not to say, I honestly, what I did by accident. I didn't do it consciously. I just, the way that the school wound up, I ended up working a year and it was the best thing I ever did because I didn't. So like, if you would have done that, like worked as an intern on a golf course or something and actually, or as landscape architecture, you might have
Yeah.
realized that I don't
This
want to
wasn't
do
for me.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
Right. But
so
even still, yeah, you are at a point in your life when you're in your late teens, early 20s, and the world is ahead of you. You want to explore and see more, and
mhm.
the last thing you want to be is in an office.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So even while you're there, it might, maybe it might be the career for you later on in life.
Mhm.
You just got too much going on, and too much energy going on to sit still for it. You know.
Yeah, I
But
also think that life's too short to do what you hate, you
yeah.
know, and like, I mean, you know, it's funny because like my daughter's already 8 years old, you know what I mean, and like, which is crazy because, and you have an 8 year old also,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. 8-year-old
So
daughter, 10-year-old son. Yeah.
yeah, so like, I mean, I feel like she was born like yesterday, you know what I mean? It's
Mm,
crazy how fast it's going. So it's like I look at by making the choices that I've made and actually, you know, being conscious about um who I listen to, I think is a big part of it because like, uh, you know, rule number one that I've heard recently is don't take advice from broke people. And I think that that happens so often where basically like, you know, parents give you life advice and they mean well, but
meanwhile,
don't take advice about how to make money from broke people. It's like,
right.
don't take advice about weight loss from fat people, you know, like I'm
Yeah.
not the type of person to be given weight loss advice because I could lose a few pounds, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Like, so I think that that's one of the biggest things also is it's not only necessarily who you listen to, but it's who you choose not to listen to, which is challenging because growing up, like you always have to listen, you know, you're always taught listen
Listen
to
to
your
your parents.
parents.
Yeah.
Exactly. And at
Yeah.
some point you realize that sometimes they're not always right. But
Correct.
one of the things that I'm happy about, and I don't even remember where I was going with this, but just how the choices that I made where I started listening to people that actually were doing what I wanted to do allowed me to basically, you know, spend time with my a lot more time with my kids than I think most people get to just by
Yeah.
the fact that I'm home all the time. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, and I don't work Fridays. So I always take Fridays off. And back when we were allowed to leave the house, we have annual passes to Disney. So I would take my son to Disney one day, then I take my daughter to Disney, then I take them both, so we get a lot
Yeah.
of like really good quality time. And
How do
I
you
just
how do
think,
you how do you juggle that? Because I mean, you and I both work for ourselves,
yeah,
and we're home often.
yeah.
Um, my son complained to me, just a few hours ago. He's like, "Hey, you're not so fun anymore. You're
Is it,
you're not so fun anymore. And you said you were going to spend more time, but you're not."
yeah,
And I'm like, "Homeboy, we just got." I mean, in my mind, I'm like, "We just got back from riding bikes around the neighborhood. Like, what's going
yeah,
on?" Or
yeah,
I don't know if that's an indicator of him saying you're not emotionally there with me all the time, or
hmm,
spending more present time with me. I think
yeah.
that's what he means, because you and I both know it's hard to switch this off.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
uh,
It's a 24-hour thing. It's,
right?
it's
Yeah.
hard.
In the middle of the night, you wake up, you have an idea, you go over to your phone and type it in,
Yeah.
write it down, or
That's
you could
that's
be.
the that's the blessing and the curse of doing what you love, is that for me anyway, and I'm guessing for you also, is that your business is also your hobby.
Yeah,
So I'm not sure. I mean, like my wife is like, "Oh, you're always working," and a lot of times she mistakes work for like leisure almost. Like if I'm like sitting on the couch, I'll have my phone out. I'll be watching like I'll be watching a marketing video. Like I buy because I buy courses all the time. There's a guy named
yeah.
Frank Kern that I just bought one of his courses, and I
Mhm.
was watching it, and she looks at it as work, and I look at it as, no, this is enjoyable. I'd rather be watching this than like a football game. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, yeah.
so like that's like my leisure time also. And then I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Um, but yeah, so I mean, I think that it's challenging because especially with kids being home all the time, because when they're at school, in the last few months, your kids are constantly home. So when they're at school, you get a little bit of a break where it's basically, okay, I'm working now, you're at school, and there's objective things that you're supposed to be doing. But when you're home all day, it's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
And it's tricky. I mean, like, what I do is I work 4 days a week. I don't work Fridays. I work 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and
Mhm.
then I take Friday, Saturday, Sunday off.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while, like back when they were in school, I would pick one of them up and we'd go to Disney. I'd pick them up at like 3 o'clock, and we'd go to Disney, and then like the next day I'd pick the other one up, because I always try to like spend time together with them and then time individually also.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So it's tough because a lot of time, like I just built an addition on my house that now my office is actually outside. So
yeah.
it's more difficult because my office used to be practically in my living room. So try telling a 4-year-old that I'm working is difficult, because they
Right.
just don't understand. They see me sitting
Yeah,
there, and
yeah,
they're not
yeah.
really sure what I'm doing.
Exactly.
So it's
No.
challenging. Yeah, it's definitely challenging, but I don't know. It works out, I guess, because I try to focus on them as much as I can, as much as anyone can. I still feel guilty a lot though. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that? Like, like
Yeah.
you're
No.
putting
I
yourself.
I definitely feel guilty. I
Mhm.
go to bed at night thinking, oh my God, I could have done this better today. Or hey, well, why didn't I have enough time to do this with them, or what have you? Like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Type moments.
I think
Yeah.
feeling guilty is good though, because if you didn't, then you kind of wouldn't
Well,
strive to
you'd be
be
a
better, I
sociopath.
guess. Yeah,
You'd be a
exactly.
sociopath if you didn't feel guilty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. A double-edged sword on that one.
Yeah.
It how you have people that work for you, but they work remotely,
Hmm.
right? So I mean, they're working from home.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, right?
Hmm.
The impact from COVID to you. I mean, how substantial or not was that for you and your business?
We had 3 record months in a row. So I mean, the
Oh,
the the impact was that our ads got cheaper, so I spent more money on ads. And like,
mhm,
so in my business, there's different messaging, because what I'm selling is I'm selling um I'm basically I'm in the wealth sector. So there's health, wealth, and relationships. There's really only three main categories that your business can fall under, right? So in wealth, which wealth would be marketing, and then attorney marketing, um, what I did is I just shifted my message, because when things are going great, then my message is, hey, lawyers, here's how you can get more clients and build the law firm of your dreams, right?
Right.
But when things are going kind of crazy and everything's not looking very good and people are scared, then you have to shift your messaging, and instead of talking about the future, you talk about how to avoid losing what you currently have.
Yeah.
So it's like creating a life preserver. Right? Actually, one of my best performing ads that I've had over the last 3 months is, it was like, the headline was like, here's your law firm's life preserver, or something like that,
Mhm.
because people are afraid of, fear of loss is an extremely, is a really powerful motivator.
Yeah.
If I were to say, do this and or say, watch this video and you'll make $1 million, or watch this video to avoid losing $1 million, the
Right.
losing $1 million is going to get more opt-ins all the time.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, so it really didn't impact us, other than we actually hired probably 3 people over the last, 3 months. So
So the business grew over the
yeah,
past
the business
three
grew.
months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
our business grew.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really good. The challenge I always have with people working from home is finding people that are disciplined enough to work from home. That's always the challenge. And if there's been any reason that I've had to let people go, it's because they're not, I can tell they're not focused, and they're not able to handle themselves. Because, like, my philosophy is, I don't care when you work, I don't care how much you work, just get the work done.
Show me the
I'm
result.
not
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
not. Yeah. Just give me results. That's all I need. I'm
Yeah.
not, at 9 o'clock, I'm not making people do check-ins. I'm not recording screens. I'm not doing stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, there's people that I think there's people that need the structure of an office.
Yeah.
I personally, I can never work in an office again, because you lose so much productivity. Just think about, like, how many hours in a year you spend driving to work, driving home from work,
That's
going
right.
to lunch, small talk with people. You know what I mean? Like, it
Or have
adds
good
up.
coffee. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it adds up. Or people just coming in and popping in, and distractions and everything.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and that's the thing, is that, like, because I work 13 hours, if I actually look at how much productivity I save, or I guess how much time I actually, like, what that equivalent would be if I worked in an office, it would probably be, 15 hours a day. You know what I mean? So you save 10 hours a week. What is that? 500 hours a year, just by being home,
Got it. Yeah. I think that is where society is trending,
Mhm.
is remote work.
Yeah.
People working in their boxers at their laptop, at the kitchen table or something,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
The only problem is when the lawn people get here right when I'm recording a video. I don't know if you can hear
hey, it
that.
happens all the time. It's
It's
like,
called
I
Murphy's
wish
Law.
I could time it to where, our lawn guys don't come and do their thing outside.
Yeah.
Andy and I live very close to each other.
Yeah. Actually, I could probably look out my window and see your house from here, I think.
The only reason why we're doing this podcast via Zoom is so that I can record it, in tandem, and the audio syncs in tandem. That's for
How
the
do you normally
laziest
do
thing
these?
possible. I
How do you
do it
normally do these?
on one of those Zoom H recorders, H6
Oh,
recorders,
okay. Cool.
and then I'll get like two 4K mini like a GoPro-ish type cameras, and
Yeah.
I'll have two cameras aimed, one at me, one at the interviewee,
Nice.
and then I'll try to bring it in. And it's like with Zoom, it's
Just
like, hey,
edit the
I
whole
got my
thing.
audio and video right here. Yeah, the audio quality isn't as great,
Yeah.
but it does its job.
Yeah. You know what? You know what my life motto is done is better than perfect.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Um, hey, did you have fun yesterday going to the range?
Yeah, that was a lot of
Yeah.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually I was looking to see, like, when they open again, because I want to go again.
Yeah. It's addicting. It's
Yeah.
weird. It is weirdly uh for me, it's weirdly calming. I don't
Hmm.
know what it is about going to the gun range, and maybe it's just the focus, right? Because everything else kind of, you have to dissolve everything around you to focus and do everything correct to hit the target.
Hmm.
It's weirdly meditative for me. I
Yeah.
don't know how you feel about it, but
Well, I can see how it could get to that point. Yesterday, I was more. So I'm a total. The background is that I'm a total newbie, And I called Jay last week, and I was like, "Hey, you have guns? Tell
I'm
me
like, yeah, I
about
got
them."
guns. I got
Yeah.
guns. Yeah.
So just with world events and just kind of, I don't know, not even now. I just, at some point I want to make sure, I kind of want to. I felt like for a while I want to make sure that I'm able to, protect myself if should something happen, or protect my family
Yes.
should something happen.
You
Um,
should have a firearm in your home, and those and the people that don't have firearms in their home, hey, it is of course for freedom of choice. But for me, regardless of how many martial arts degrees and black belts, et cetera, in the middle of the night, you have an intruder. You don't know if they're there to steal or hurt
mhm.
you or kill you or whatever.
You don't know what state of
Hey,
mind they're in either. That's the whole
yeah.
thing. Like, like we had somebody a couple weeks ago ring our doorbell at like 7 o'clock in the morning. They weren't wearing shoes. Like, I don't know who it was. You know, like,
Uh,
I mean, and we live in we don't live in a gated community. We live in an area that's more affluent than others. And it's a very, busy area, and we're
yeah,
not too far from downtown. So there's a lot of factors that kind of went into this. And actually, what's funny is that, like, our last house, we used to live in Mulberry, which is it's a much smaller area.
yeah. More
And we didn't
rural.
even,
Yeah.
yeah, more rural. That's the word I was looking for. We didn't even have an alarm at our house. You know what I mean? And we moved here. My wife was like, I want to make sure we have an alarm. So I was like, well, if you're worried about somebody coming in the house because you want an alarm, then we should really be, protecting ourselves also. So somebody was
Firearm.
saying that the police were at like a 35-minute wait time for
Yeah,
responding a
you
couple
you
days ago.
can't wait on the police. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So she's slowly coming around. And honestly, like I said, my whole thing is that I'm not completely comfortable handling guns, but that's also just because I haven't done it very often. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's a matter of
And
comfort. It's a matter of
yeah.
comfort and getting used to handling a
and
firearm
and, and
competently.
understanding
Yeah,
how to properly use it, all that type of stuff. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, there's a million things around my house that I could kill somebody with if I wanted to. So it's like, you just, you have a butcher
yeah,
knife, you have a kitchen knife. I've got an entire thing of kitchen knives that,
right.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's like, what's the difference between if I choose to? I mean, you can
hammers.
hurt yourself with that. Yeah, a hammer,
Yeah,
a
hammer.
car.
Yeah.
Honestly, a car can probably do more damage than a gun
You
could.
get it there. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. Get there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like, so that's the whole thing, is that, but like, but yeah, but basically, going to the range was good. But like for me, I can definitely see how it could become kind of once things become a little bit more natural. I think for me, I was more thinking about what I was doing.
right.
Which I think that at some point it kind of, you get a little bit more comfortable with that. But even by the end, I was much more comfortable. And it was definitely enjoyable. I want to
It's
go
good.
back
I mean,
again.
it was my pleasure to help you and your buddy out as well, because I was there too. Years ago,
Mhm.
never shot it, never thought to ever even purchase one or have
Yeah.
one in the house. None of
Yeah.
that. But then my wife and I had kids.
Mhm.
That changed everything.
Oh, so
Uh,
you've only been into this for about 10 years then?
oh yeah, oh yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I mean, prior to getting married and haven't I don't think maybe I shot one time
Mhm.
or twice before ever having kids and getting married, but ever
Oh,
since
okay. I
then,
didn't realize
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, ever since then, that was the start of it all.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, I'm gonna ask you a question that I ask all of my guests,
Okay.
and you can answer it in any which way you want.
Mhm.
Uh, it's an open-ended question. So, what do you want? And then you can give the heroic answer, and you can give the completely material answer. You can give both. I encourage it. What do you want?
I'm going to give both. I'm going to give
Yeah.
the completely selfish answer.
Excellent.
And then I'll give and I mean, I think you can want both.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm 36 years old. I want to retire by the time I'm 40.
Jeez. I think
That's
you're
what I
well
want.
on that one.
What do you say?
I said I think you're well on your way to
Well,
retiring at 40.
and let me tell you why I want to do that. It's not a material thing at all. It's a once I well let me okay what I want to have FU money by the time I'm 40, right?
Excellent. Yeah.
And the reason I want to do that is because I want to be able to give back and help and basically be able to focus on like figuring out how I can help people
Mm,
more without having to at the same time be figuring out how to take care of myself and take care of my family, right?
right.
So like one of the things that I'm really one of the organizations that I really am interested in is Operation Underground Railroad. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
So it's really it's crazy. It's basically an organization that frees children from sex slavery around the world, mostly in like South America. There's a really good yeah, you should check them out. They're called OUR,
Okay.
and there's a guy named Tim Ballard who started it, and it's a it's an organization. He used to be like special ops, and they actually go into places like Haiti and like all these, and actually like do these operations where they bring like lots of kids out of sex
I think
slavery.
I've seen social media posts about these guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've donated, so I've donated a lot of money to them. But like, there's a lot of, and like Tony Robbins is really behind it, and like a lot of like really big people are really getting behind it because it's such a big problem that really a lot of people don't realize. Like, I didn't know it was a really big problem until like 2 years ago.
Hmm.
So what I want to do is I want to get myself in a position where I don't have to worry about money for myself.
Hmm.
And it's not a material thing. Like I don't need to have $100 million in the bank. You know what I mean? Like we don't. I mean,
You'd
I
like
don't.
to, though.
It'd be nice, but like,
Yeah.
but what I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to do that. That way, I can help with things like that. I also really enjoy helping other business owners because I like. I mean, like I just like helping a lot of people, and I can't help people as much as I want to when I'm still focusing on my stuff because I've just got so many brain cells. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Um, so that's a big thing is I want to basically be able to be retired by the time I'm 40, and I've got they say if you don't have a plan it's just a wish. So I've got a plan to be able to do that, and I think that knock on wood I should be able to do that.
Yeah,
And then I can help as many people as I want. I mean, like I really like I just like helping other people. That's
right.
kind of what my biggest thing is. It's I mean, even with during COVID, I mean, I didn't have as much time as I wanted to, but I built some sales stuff out for you and helped them with
Yeah,
Facebook ads.
which
Wish I
I'm
could have done
still
more.
learning, which I'm still learning.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated you stepping up and helping me out. You didn't need to, you didn't have to, but you were willing to do so, and I'm grateful. And there's still a lot to learn, man. God,
Oh, there's a
there's
ton.
so
Yeah.
much to learn about that space. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So like I honestly, the thing I like the most about my business is the coaching because honestly, I just like helping people. Like I like giving, like, I like hearing a problem, figuring out, okay, what's the creative solution for that problem? How do we implement it? And then
right.
ultimately seeing the result.
Yeah,
So like I've helped a lot of lawyers, like actually over these last couple months, I've had several lawyers that have come up to me, that have taken advice that I've given specifically for them and had record months for their law firms during COVID,
wonderful. Yeah, yeah,
so that stuff's pretty cool. I mean, I think that that's cooler than making a lot of money because honestly, like, it's like if I made more money, like I'm not going to buy a new car, I'm not buying a new house. I mean,
yeah.
I don't need all that stuff. I'd rather
Right,
have the freedom. The
right.
other side of that is I can do a lot more with my kids and I can, spend a lot more time with them and, um,
Got it.
I don't want to, miss them growing up and, all that
Yeah.
stuff that we feel guilty about.
Right, right. Well,
Yeah.
when you get there, 4 years from now, and you know, yeah, let me know. I have some ideas of people to help,
Yeah.
or spaces to help.
Mhm.
But anyway, okay. So the material answer. Hit me with the material answer.
Oh, that was the material answer.
Oh, it
I
is the
think.
material answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
All
I
right.
mean,
Okay.
being able to retire, having money, isn't that the I think that's. Yeah, I
Well,
think that's.
no. Yes
That's.
and no. Yes
Is
and
that
no.
not the material answer?
Well, I mean, but you tied it up well with the heroic answer too. So I guess
Oh, okay.
it's a combo
Well,
package.
then the material answer is I want a Tesla. And actually, that's not really that material because I'm actually probably going to get one in a couple months.
Which one are you gonna get? Are you gonna get the Model X,
I'm going to get the Model
like our
S.
buddy?
I'm going to get the S,
You
I
get the
think.
S. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Okay.
see, here's the thing is I still can't bring myself to buy a new, like, so it's funny because Carlos, who we went to the range with yesterday, he owns Bartow Ford. Um, so I'm buying a car through him. And the only reason it's funny because I would never own a Ford, but the only reason that I'm buying a Expedition for my wife, and it's the type of thing where we currently have an Expedition, but the warranty is about to run out, and I don't trust a Ford without an extended warranty, you know? So we're looking at it, and because we've actually, believe it or not, we've had a lot of problems with the car. But
Right.
the cool part about it is that because Carlos is a friend, and like his wife is my accountant, you know, so
Yeah.
like, and they
Yeah.
live right up the street. So basically, whenever there's an issue, he just swings by, picks up the car, and drops off, you know, whatever. So it's never been an inconvenience for us. And I'm
Yeah.
telling him, I'm like, this is how you guys need to run your dealership, because I will never buy another car from anyone else as long as I know that you're going to just take care of everything that happens, you know? So
That's right.
like, um, you know, so basically I'm buying, you know, an expedition from him, but I
Yeah.
don't know. And the only reason I'm buying it because they're doing like 0% interest
Financing.
and a few
Right.
other
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't buy new cars. I typically will buy a car that's 2 years old, because you lose so much
That's right.
money as soon as you
That's
drive it
right.
off the
Never,
lot, you
never. I
know?
never buy new. I haven't bought
Yeah.
new in I don't know how long. I never buy new. So,
Yeah. So I'm going to get a Model S. I think I'm going to get a 2017 Model S, which is like a new Model S is like 110, and
mm.
the 2017s are like 43, I think.
Is
So
it
it's,
really? Okay,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's actually
Yeah.
not, it's actually fairly affordable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. That's my material thing, I guess. I mean, like, honestly, like for me, I just want to go on vacation. That's my
Right.
biggest thing is my,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
spending more, being able to do more things that don't involve work, you know,
Don't
or
involve work.
helping people. Those are my big things.
But that's the thing though. It's like when you go on vacation and if you're anything like me, you know, we went to the beach last
Yeah.
or a week or so ago, and you know, if I'm staring off into space, it's not because I'm looking at the sunset per se.
Yeah.
It's like there's like work still going on in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
where did you guys go?
We went to Anna Maria.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the secret, right? You have to go somewhere where you get zero internet connection whatsoever. And
Yeah.
then at that point, and then like, so what I do is we go to, my wife and I go to Cancun. We've gone the last 2 years in a row. We're supposed to go next week,
Yeah.
but that got canceled because of
Okay.
all
Yeah.
this stuff, which
Yeah.
I'm very disappointed about. But we go to this place. It's an all inclusive place. We go for our anniversary, and
Mhm.
they say there's internet connection. There's no internet. And then I'm actually truly able to disconnect for a week, because if I just don't have any access to any internet, then you know,
You think
I'll
so?
typically, what do you
You
say?
think you really the no internet thing is you think that's the trick for you?
That's the trick. Well, what I'll do is I'll bring some books. So
Okay.
I'll bring like, and this is just my wife and I, you know. So you know, like a
Right.
vacation with just adults is totally different
True.
than
True.
there's trips and there's vacations, you
Yeah.
know. Like
Yeah.
the just the
Yeah.
adults is the vacation.
That's
So
right.
I'll bring like one or two books about marketing, and then I'll bring like two or three books that are about nothing to do with marketing whatsoever.
And
And I'll start.
you just said that you weren't working, and you're
Well,
bringing two books on marketing. You lied.
yeah, but they're
You
enjoyable
lied.
books, you know. So like, well, actually, so last year, yeah. So I'll read them, but it's, like I said, I enjoy that type of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really, I don't know. My wife probably thinks I'm working. I enjoy it, but then
Yeah.
I read other stuff also. So that's my disconnecting. That's as
Got it.
disconnected as I get, you know.
Got it.
But if it's the type of thing where I'm actually, I actually have internet, it sucks because I'm always checking my email.
Right.
You know, I can't help it.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. So that's
All
the
right.
secret.
All right, man. Well, hey, I know you're busy. Thanks for having the time to come on to the show. If people wanted to reach out to you, what would be the best way for them to reach, or not? I'll tell them to leave your ass alone.
Well, it depends what they want to reach out to me for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, they can
How about this, lawyers? How about lawyers?
Okay, lawyers. Yeah. Well, if
Yeah,
you're a lawyer, then you should get my book. My book is totally free. It's freebookforlawyers.com.
Okay.
And what's cool is that I ship it. So basically, the book is free. I just ask that you cover the shipping, which is $7.95. But I started doing this thing where basically I'm even delaying the shipping charge. So I actually don't bill you for 30 days until after so you can read the book. And if you don't like it, then you can just email me and I won't even charge you. So Free Book for Lawyers is a good place. And then, you know, hit me up on Instagram or Facebook. You know, I think my Instagram is Andy Stickel or Andrew Stickel, something like that. I'm not very good at promoting myself, as you can see.
Oh man.
Yeah,
All
so
right, all right, all
you
right.
can email me, Andy@socialfirestarter.com. That's a good one
Oh
also.
man, yeah. Fortunately, I've got a really good crowd, so I won't have
Oh,
any
cool.
crazy people just hitting you up.